Hope you guys are doing well. As promised, I'm just quickly doing a video here regarding all of the slides where I'll run through them quickly. I'll give you the main gist of every slide, give you a little bit of insight in case you missed something in class or that you were not available or that you were not paying attention, as I know some days we all have our moments. Obviously, as I say, you guys know by now, when we talk about the micro, we talk about our culture, we talk about our management, we talk about the structure, and of course the 8 business functions which we started today. As part of macro, you will always use Pestle, which we'll do in detail a bit later, and you guys are now familiar with Porter and his 6 factors. Okay, you are now well familiar with him, you will know what it's all about, but I'm going to run through. The first thing that you will see is that we're going to be talking about an environmental scan. Now, what is an environmental scan? That is looking at things in both the past, the present, and the future that could affect your business. You do it by looking at your inside, your outside, things that could affect your business, whether it be your suppliers, your whatever, anything within micro, macro, or market environment. All of that forms part of environmental scanning. Now, I'll explain in the next slide why we do this environmental scan. So the definition is up top here for you. As I say, you use it to decide on the best course of action. A business does it. You look at things in the past, the future, the present, anything that could affect your business. It's very wide. And you do it to assess both the threats and the opportunities that your business is facing. You need to know whether this is a trend, a crisis, or a paradigm shift. A trend is obviously something short-term that affects, it is only in the short term. Things like fidget spinners. I can't even think of trading cards, whatever, those are all things. A crisis is when you have something that affects you quickly in the short term and you've got to try and fix it. It's a short-term problem. Whereas a paradigm shift is a shift in the way of thinking of people, where you've got to now decide, is it something, you've got to decide, is it a trend, is it the short term, or is it a paradigm shift where the thinking of people has changed, like, for example, vegans, hello, where shifting has changed. And you can thereby identify strategies and remain competent. These are the steps. You have to know your vision and your mission, you have to formulate the strategy, you have to implement the strategy, and you have to evaluate the strategy. Normal steps you guys would have heard somewhere before, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, now we get to SWOT, the strengths of the business. These are things that the business can control. It's our prices, our manufacturing method, our location, our workforce skills, our patents, and our culture. The next slide I will be going through it with you. Pricing, obviously you get different types of pricing. Value-based pricing, where you attach what people attach a value to something and you set the pricing there. Competitive pricing, you look at what your competitors are asking. If your competitors are asking 50 Rand, you charge 45, whatever your example could be. Price skimming is where you look at you set the bar high and you take a little bit off until you find the sweet spot. So you start high and then you move it down. Cost plus is where you work out what cost is and you just plus a little margin, whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%. Those of you that do accounting will know about this quite well. Then you have penetration pricing. This is what a lot of new businesses do when they try and enter a market. They try and set the bar low and they build that brand loyalty, and then eventually they can set the bar higher and higher again. Economy pricing and dynamic pricing. Our prices have changed considering what's going on in the economy. Okay. I hope this makes sense. Location, guys. Remember, the first thing is your demographic. What is your demographics are your characteristics of your people. What do your people look like? Are they rich? Are they poor? Are they male, female, old, young? Gives you an idea of what to look at. You obviously need to know distance to the market because that affects your transportation costs. If it's higher, then obviously you're going to pay more. You have to know what your competition is like in the area, and you have to look at complementary businesses. Are there things nearby that you can sell your products with? For example, if you want to be a Mr. Price Sport, is there maybe a Sportsman's Warehouse somewhere nearby? That's your competition. Your complementary things, however, is things like Garmin or juice places where they sell Energade or whatever. Those are complementary goods. And obviously security in South Africa is pretty much self-explanatory. Now you can protect yourself with know-how and patents, and they need to be unique, but you need to look after your product and you have to protect that uniqueness. You do this by having patents, by having certain expertise, certain skills. If one person in the world knows how to do it, that's obviously great, But it's a risk. It's called key person dependency, where one person is the only guy who knows how to run a certain sector of your business. You never want that if you can avoid it. Okay. Guys, your workers are one of your most invaluable assets. Hiring people from inside the country also lends itself to CSR, social responsibility, you will learn more about. But because you are hiring local, you are being a responsible student, you are building the local economy, literally, because you are hiring people who are in your area. It builds a good PR. And that's where HR and recruitment comes in. HR and recruitment will go and look for the people. Guys, you get them through HR, but your business culture and how you treat them is how you maintain them. So you have to listen to them, you have to promote them, you have to value them. A lot of people don't do it for the money. But if you value them, they'll stick around for a while. Obviously, weakness, a lot of your strengths could be your weaknesses. If you don't have a skilled workforce, that's a weakness. If you have a bad location, that's a weakness. If your pricing strategy is wrong and you're not competitively priced when compared to your competitors, that's a weakness. Obviously, it depends on the scenario that you used. Obviously, guys, outside of the controls, when you do S&W, that will link with micro. Opportunities and threats are more market and macro environment. So, making sure that you can use your strengths to get your opportunities is always the best chance. But opportunities and threats are things like a new shopping mall entering. The economic recession is a threat. Load shedding is a threat. But it's also an opportunity. If you can look at something like NASA and Mohammed are doing solar, it's an opportunity because people are getting hurtful for load shedding. They want something new. Okay. Looking at it, you can't control it, but you use your strategies and you use your strengths and weaknesses to help overcome or utilize the opportunities and threats. Okay, this one you can look through. It's pretty much self-explanatory. I'm not going to waste too much time on this slide. Okay, I hope that this is at least a little bit of a work guide. I've tried not to make it too long so that you don't have to listen to my beautiful voice for too long. But you hopefully will give you a bit of insight as to what you need to study again and just another way of studying if you prefer listening to Mr. Chen talk for a while. Okay, good luck.